All right, so feeding off of the last episode, I want to do a part two and a part three. This one, I'm going to tell a story that's a little bit more on the Satan side. So we'll just get right into it. I remember I was at a club in New York City with a group of friends, and I went outside to smoke a cigarette because I used to smoke cigarettes at the time, which is gross, whatever. I don't do that anymore. But I was outside, I was smoking a cigarette, and I remember this guy in a hoodie. There was a bunch of people outside. There was security guards, there's 2 or 3 security guards, and there was a big group of people. Everyone was smoking, there was weed going around, smoking cigarettes, and it was just like everyone went out there to smoke. It was on the side of the club. This guy comes walking by in a hoodie, and he just throws up some gang signs and just starts creating this all-out brawl. There was just everyone started fighting. I don't know what side was what side. I don't know. I was just sitting there just watching all these people go at it. And it was just a massive brawl. The security guards, to the point, even just stepped back, and they were like, I'm not even trying to do nothing. Like, it was intense. And there was weapons involved and like the whole 9 yards. And I just turned my back, which was, I don't know, maybe not the best decision, but I just turned my back to it and I kept smoking my cigarette. I was just minding my business, like I'm not part of this. Like, y'all could just do you, and I'm just here being me. All right, don't bother me. All of a sudden, I got clocked in the back of the head so hard, I stumbled, and I was like, oh, like, I turned around, the person just had his hands up. I was like, all right, bet. I knocked him right out. I was like, not having that. I was mad. And he fell to the ground. As soon as he hit the ground, everybody stopped fighting. And they all looked at me. And they were like, oh, you just hit the wrong person. I was like, oh, come on. I just started getting hit by probably like 20 people. They were just rocking my shit. I got so brutally jumped. Like, I can't even explain to you how bad it was. I got knocked out, and it was like the only time I've ever been knocked out in my life. I remember waking up. It was pouring rain. I had no clothes on. I was in my underwear, and it was pouring rain. And I was in an alleyway in New York City, and I was like, damn, this is my life right now. I'm like, all right, I really don't deserve this. I was just trying to chill and mind my business. I looked to the side. Both the security guards are on the ground. I'm pretty sure that they were not alive anymore. I remember just getting up, and I was like, I wiped my eyes, and I was like, oh. I went to reach for my phone. Like, I had nothing. I had no idea where I was. Like, I was completely lost. Like, I just remember taking a taxi to this club. I don't even remember paying attention. We were all drinking in the taxi, this and that. By the time I got to the club, I was already shit-faced. I didn't even know what was going on. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to have to figure this one out. So I remember it was like, I don't know what time it was. It was probably like, it was gremlin hours. It was probably like 3, 4 in the morning. And I just remember seeing this guy just walk through this little alleyway. And I was like, all right. I was like, damn, I said a quick little apology. And I just went up behind him and I just knocked him to the ground real quick. I took his clothes, put his clothes on, and I just started trekking it. And he did. Maybe I could have picked a better person. I don't know. He had Timberlands, jean shorts, and a guinea tee. And it was freezing cold. Like, I'm talking about, I was shivering. Like, I just remember walking. So then I finally got into, like, where there was, like, a few people. There were some taxi drivers driving down the street. There was nobody outside because it was pouring rain. But I remember going up to this taxi driver at a red light, and I was knocking on the window, and I was like, yo, please let me borrow your phone real quick. Yeah, what do you think he did? He skirted right off. He was definitely shitting bricks. He thought I was gonna rob him or something. I don't know what he thought. Probably thought I was a crackhead. Like, I don't even know. And I was like, all right. Did it again to another taxi driver. Same thing. It was just like I was trying to ask for help, but nobody was willing to help me because, I mean, based on the looks that I was giving off, I probably wouldn't have helped me either. Like, it was a little intimidating, I guess. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna just have to figure this one out. So I remember just walking, and then I actually came to stumbled across a church, and I remember just sitting on the steps, just trying to figure things out. And I remember this plus size woman. She was definitely like African or something. She came and sat next to me, and she came like out of nowhere, and she just sat down. She was like, oh my God, what happened to you? Are you okay? Do you need help? This and that. And I was like, yes, please. I was like, can I use your phone? And I just remember calling my mom. I think at first she didn't answer. I called a couple times. It was like 4 a.m, so she must have known something was wrong. She picked up the phone, and I was like, Mom, like, can you come get me? Like, I'm down bad right now. She's like, where are you? I've been calling you all night. You haven't been answering your phone. Whose phone is this? Where are you? Starts going off. And I'm like, Mom, to be honest, I don't even know where I'm at. I really don't even know. And for some reason, the lady didn't know where we were either. She couldn't explain to me. It was just a weird situation. So my mom ended up calling the New York police department. Like, she was just scrambling. And I told her what I was wearing, and she reported a missing child. And then I guess they started looking for me. And then I explained to her a little bit where I was at. She was like, well, explain to me, like, what are your surroundings, this and that. And I was like, I told her what was across the street. I told her I'm just sitting on these steps at this church. Like, I really don't know where I am. Like, it's raining. I'm freezing cold. My lips were blue. Like, I was freezing cold. I could barely even talk. I'm in the phone, like, chattering. Like, I'm like, this shit was like not good. And then I was just sitting there. The lady was like, oh, come with me. I'll take care of you. And I was like, no, like, I just don't trust that. Like, it probably would have been fine, but honestly, anything would have been better than that at that point. But I was just like, no, I'm not going with you. I'm gonna just post up right here, and I'm gonna just wait till the sun comes up, and I'll figure it out from there. And then eventually the sun started rising, and I just stayed put, and I had given her phone back. She left. And then all of a sudden, this cop car rolled up. It was 2 cops, and they were like, they rolled down the window, and they started calling my name. And I was such in like a kind of state that I was like, I guess it was like an instinct or something. I started running. I was like, yeah, nah. I started dipping. They're like, yo, we're not gonna arrest you. Like, we have your mom on the phone, and my mom was on the phone with them. I was like, wait, for real? And they were like, yes. I was like, you're not gonna arrest me? They were like, no. They were like, just come here. They didn't get out the car. They didn't do anything. They were just yelling out the window. It was also still raining. I just went up to the car, and I heard they had the phone on speaker. And I heard my mom, like, did you find him? And they were like, yeah, we got him. He's not wanting to come up to the car. But I went up to the car once I heard her voice, and I was like, all right, like, I think I'm good. And then they were like, look, we're going to take you back to the precinct or whatever, and we'll have your mom come pick you up from there. And I was like, all right. Bet, that sounds like a bet. That sounds like a bet. And then I got in the back of the car. One and only time I willingly got into a cop car. And then they took me to the precinct. They asked me a bunch of questions. And then I didn't say nothing. And I remember my mom came to pick me up. And she was like, just no words. Like, I was in a completely different outfit from what I left the house in. And she just looked, it was just a look of disappointment all over her face. Like, she didn't even want to know what just happened. She didn't even want to know anything. I don't even think I ever told her this story. She's going to watch this podcast and be like, damn, that's what happened to you. I'm gonna be like, yeah, well, you know now. And damn, it was just a really crazy night. I remember she was driving me back, and there was just not a word that was said in the car ride home. And I just went inside. I threw out the clothes that I had on, took a shower, and went to bed. And I woke up the next day, and I just kept doing what I was doing. Like, nothing ever happened. And I was just like, all right, whatever. Just went right back to the block after that. And then that was only one of the occasions. There was another occasion while I was in New York, and we're not even going to talk about what happened per se, but it was a situation where, again, this time I was like a little more left for dead. I'm definitely not, we're not going to talk about it because I don't want to know. I'll take that to the grave. But I literally had to, it was pretty much like the same situation. Like, I ended up walking home that night. It was, so it was not one time, but 2 times that I got like just stranded in New York. And I remember the same thing. I was asking people for help. Nobody wanted to help me. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to trek it. And I literally, this time I was more clear-minded. I wasn't drinking for the night. I just had got involved in some things that I shouldn't have got involved in. And I literally walked over the George Washington Bridge, and I just trekked it. And then I just walked down the Parkway. Like, I walked all the way home from New York City, and I live in New Jersey, so it was a far, far, far walk. It took me like 7 hours, probably 8 hours, because I was moving too. There was one point where I got in a car, somebody drove me a little bit of the ways, so it didn't take the full amount of time that it should have, because it probably would have taken literally close to 20 hours to make that walk. But I walked down the highway. I think that's where I got, like, after I got over the George Washington Bridge, I was walking down the highway, and somebody had stopped, and they were like, yo, like, do you, like, want to ride? They didn't even ask any questions. I was just like, yeah, sure. They dropped me off, like, as far as they could bring me. They didn't want to go out of their way. I was grateful enough that they were willing to give me a ride that far. I think I ended up in, like, Elizabeth, and then I just walked from Elizabeth, which wasn't bad. That was only, like, 2 hours from Elizabeth. And then I just got home, took a shower, went to bed, woke up the next day, and just got back to it, you know? It was just a crazy experience. And then another time in New York. New York is just a crazy city, man. It's a crazy city. I got roofied this one time. I remember all I remember is sitting at this bar. We were at this like 3-floor club, and I was with a few people, and I had drifted from my friends. There was just so many people, I couldn't find them. So I was just like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna just post up at the bar and just do what I do until it eventually closes, and I'll figure it out from there. And I was sitting at the bar, and I had on really nice clothes. Like, I had on designer, I had on like a Louis Vuitton belt, I had on nice jewelry. Something was slipped into my drink. And the next thing, I just remember waking up on a couch in an apartment. And I opened my eyes and I was like, I went back to sleep because I was comfortable. I thought that I was at my house, to be honest. I thought everything was good. I was like, oh, I'm on the couch. I'm chilling. No big deal. I guess I got a little bent up last night. And I fell back asleep for a little bit. And then I just remember waking up to good morning. And I opened my eyes. I was like, that's not a voice that I recognize. I opened my eyes and then I was like, started looking around and I was like, oh, this isn't my crib. What am I doing here? And I turned and it was just this big black lady just cooking eggs and bacon. And she was like, oh, do you want some breakfast? This and that. And I was like, oh. Where's my clothes? I was like, my belt, I had nothing on. I was like, oh shit. She was like, yeah, I found you last night on the streets and you just were like all crazy. You just came back to the apartment. And I was like, I didn't even ask any questions. I didn't even want to know what happened. I don't even want to know what happened. But she seemed nice. She seemed cool. I got up and she had like this big baggy hoodie. I just put the big baggy hoodie on and I just left. And I remember walking out into the street and I was like, oh, where am I? I don't even remember how I got home that time, but I did make it home. I didn't have my phone again. Didn't have any of my stuff. My wallet was gone. All my jewelry was gone. But when I walked out, it was daylight. So I probably asked somebody for help, and they were probably willing to help me because it's not like 3 a.m, like you're about to get robbed by this random crackhead that just came up to your car. So I did make it home that time. That was not bad. It was, oh no, man, life's crazy. If you're going to go to New York, just be careful because it's a crazy city. Crazy things happen.